So if you click the video, you've probably seen it by now. At yesterday's Oscar show, Will Smith thought it would be a good idea to go on stage and slap Chris Rock across the face, who's the host, because he made a joke about Will Smith's wife's hair. Okay, when I first saw the clip, I was like, Jesus Lord, where's your chill? Okay, you gotta calm down. You can't just go on stage and slap people, you know. This is assault, this is battery. And in fact, a lot of people on social media agree with that opinion. They're like, this is assault. Will Smith should have been escorted out of the building immediately and so on. But there is another part of the story that I only found out about when I read up on it, and that is that his wife, Will Smith's wife, is suffering from a condition that causes hair loss. Okay, she went public with it in 2018, so it's well known. So that was, and that kind of changes the angle a little bit. It was, in that case, a very, very, very tasteless joke. If someone has a serious condition, I mean, I know she didn't have cancer or something, she wasn't like seriously ill that she's dying, but hair loss and the psychological impacts of that are not to underestimate. If you're a man, you lose your hair, okay, it sucks, it probably scratches on your confidence, but you can just shave and do the whole Jason Statham thing, okay? If you lose your hair as a woman, that's a different ball game, okay? It takes away from your confidence. It can really, really wreck you. And I can only speculate here. Obviously, I don't know Will Smith and I'm not living in his household, okay? But if you have a household where the wife, the woman that you love, is losing her hair, it will definitely have an impact on the family as a whole, okay? I'm sure she was depressed. I'm sure she was suffering. We know that she was wearing a turban for the longest time to kind of hide it, or at least not to draw too much attention to it. So her confidence is suffering from this, okay? This is putting women in a position where they don't even want to go outside. And this has been going on since 2018 internally in the Smith family. It's probably going on even longer. And you can imagine that Will Smith, as the man who loves his wife, you know, he's definitely putting a lot of effort and work into encouraging his wife and saying, look, I love you the way you are. You know, you're beautiful. It doesn't matter whether you have hair or not. And he's trying to compensate for that mental and psychological damage that something like that does to you. And here's Chris Rock making a extremely tasteless joke about this, rubbing salt into the wound. Okay, and you know, and again, I'm just speculating, but you know how much your wife is suffering from this. She's crying, she's on the ground. There's no cure for that condition that she has, so she will have to live with a bald head for the rest of her life, okay? It is soul destroying for women. So from that point of view, if you spend that much time in trying to encourage your wife and build her back up and put the energy and turn, I can understand why he got up and got angry, okay? On the other hand, Chris Rock is the host of the Oscars. Okay, we've seen what Ricky Gervais did. Hosts of Oscar ceremonies roast the people in the room, okay? That's what they do. And I would argue that the big difference between Ricky Gervais and Chris Rock is that Ricky Gervais has a very sensitive feeling about what joke he can make and what joke is inappropriate. Okay, he makes a joke and it goes under the belt, okay? It is a painful joke, but it is not making fun about a person's health condition. Okay, if someone has a health condition, whether it's cancer and super deadly serious or just something they're suffering from like hair loss, you don't make jokes about that. You just don't, okay? It's something you don't touch. You don't go there, in my opinion. That's my opinion. You can, of course, argue against it and say, well, they should have been able to take that joke. Sure. It's an argument you can make. But in my opinion, that's just a place you don't go to. But was it appropriate that Will Smith went up and slapped him across the face during a show? In my opinion, it wasn't. Okay, you don't do that. Something like this in the public eye while you have millions of people watching, children potentially watching, you know, I don't know. It is not something you do. It is something that you do after the show. Okay, you pull Chris Rock aside and you say, what you said about my wife during the show was unacceptable and I want you to apologize. And then you can sort it out from there, you know, but you don't go up on stage during a live show and cause this kind of drama. And a lot of people are saying, well, it was staged anyway. Right, that was staged. Well, I can tell you with 99.9% certainty that it was not staged, okay, for various reasons. One of them being, you don't do a marketing coup where you try to get exposure or like a scandal in your show where then Will Smith sits in the front line and drops the F-bomb to a person and says, you don't take my wife's name into your effing mouth, okay? That's not how marketing works, okay? You don't do these kinds of things. That was a real emotional outburst from him. I don't know about the slap, okay? I don't know if but that moment when he was sitting there and screaming at him, that was definitely not staged. And since that was real, I can only assume that the slap also was not planned. Also, there's a point to be made that it was kind of censored. In most countries around the world, I think the full scene could only be seen on the Oscar ceremony in Japanese television and in Australian television. In most other countries, they pushed the big red button and said, no, last minute didn't happen. And I don't know if they just edited out the audio live or whether they cut the whole scene. I don't know what exactly was seen on American television, but they edited it out. And if it would have been a marketing coup to just generate more exposure and get everyone talking about it, you wouldn't edit it out, right? You would discuss it, you would plan it, and it would be a part of the show. You don't say, we do this big marketing coup and then we're editing it out once it happens. It doesn't make any sense. And also how the whole thing unfolded, it felt very, very real, despite these people being actors. Another aspect that I want to talk about in regards to this is that so many celebrities at the level of Will Smith are only surrounding themselves, or are nearly naturally surrounded, by yes men, okay? By people who, whatever he says, are like, yeah, well, Will, you did amazing. Will, your newest film, fantastic, okay? Oh, you got the Oscar, well deserved, Will. You're the best, you're awesome. Part of that shielding process and that yes man process is also that celebrities often are not exposed or kept away from harsh criticism, okay? So they're not looking at their own Twitter accounts and they see all the racist ads that people are sending and insulting them. People like me are used to it, right? When you're on YouTube or you're on Twitter or on Twitch or whatever, you got a few thousand followers, you will always have people insulting you, okay? I'm used to it. When I read insulting comments, I'm like, yeah, whatever, man, I'm moving on. But if someone like Will Smith is never exposed to something like that, and then someone like Chris Rock pushes that button on stage, it kind of makes sense that he's more triggered than a regular person. Okay, most people who are used to being exposed to criticism and things like that would have probably just said, yeah, okay, we talk about it later. I don't want to make a drama scene now, but he could not control himself. And that tells me that he is absolutely not used to anyone criticizing or putting anything forward, that makes a joke about him, that is sarcastic or anything. That probably doesn't happen. Okay, so that's why he reacted the way he did, because he's not used to anyone saying anything negative about him. Again, just me speculating. This is me trying to make sense of this situation, trying to understand it. But I'd be very curious to hear your thoughts on this as well. Where are you on this debate? Do you think what Will Smith did was justified? Do you think the joke went too far? Or what are your thoughts on this? Okay, leave all that down in the comment section below. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts because it's a very divisive topic and I can, in a way, identify with both sides. I can see both sides of this equation having a point to an extent. But if you ask me for my opinion, I think personally Will Smith went too far. Was it assault? I mean, I think Chris Rock didn't push any charges, so sure, the government could say it's assault or whatever. I don't think it needs to be assault. I think it is something that needs to be debated public with the overarching headline that this should not happen. Okay, you don't do that. If you're in the street, someone says something about your mom, ignore it. Someone says something about your wife, your kids, just ignore it. Just move on, okay? You don't need to hit the guy in the bar because he made a joke about your mom. Nobody cares. He doesn't even know your mom. It is only an expression of you illustrating that you cannot control yourself. You can't control your emotions, and that should be the lesson we take from this occurrence, okay? Control your emotions. Don't get upset. Let them make fun of it doesn't matter, man. Let them make fun of your wife, your family. Move on. If it is insulting to you, speak to the person privately. Doesn't mean you can never bring anything up that's insulting, but don't, make it in front of the eyes of millions and millions of people. It's just cringe. It's awkward. I watched the scene once, right? The whole situation. I watched it once. Can't watch it again, man, because it was so cringe-inducing, so painful to watch. And yeah, anyway, guys, these are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the little video. If you did, share your thoughts underneath, smash the like button, hit subscribe, do all the good things to stay up to date with the channel. I very much appreciate your time watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm out. Bye.